Shots fired. Well done.
Look very well, please. I need to see you. I don't remember.
Are you paid? I don't attend to non-paying clients.
Okay. At least you call me client.
When
Your life, Abby?
yeah.
It's my lawyer. He doesn't want to attend to me. I'm so sleepy.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing to wake up from is when I sleep downstairs. It's easy to leave my house.
That's because it's so nice.
Welcome inside the locker room.
Boom.
And we're inside the locker room for a feel-good Friday. Big stories for you this Friday morning. And we have the queen of the sports right here on Smooth 98.1, Tega Tiger, Tega Supreme. How are you, Tega?
I'm very fine, thank you. Your team lost yesterday. They won your team. 1, quick. 2, quick. 3, quick. Good morning, everybody.
The referee was biased.
This moment.
No, the referee
was
was
biased.
the referee wasn't
really.
biased.
Just say the truth and shame
No,
the
no.
gem.
The referee wasn't even
I'm
remotely
telling you,
biased.
The
But
referee, oh my God, that game.
I have a comment about the refereeing.
Good.
However, I won't call it a bias.
It was
But there is a reason
actually.
why in all the international tournaments, from the UEFA Champions League to the Europa Conference League, there are no English referees at the center. But good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great week. It's Friday. Who is taking me out?
Well, we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. You can also send in your comments right there on the live stream. Drop all your comments and reactions to the show. We'll read them before the end of the show. You can also leave us a message on WhatsApp 0809 4440981. My name is Victor Pepple.
I'm Shepard Martins, and remember Twitter as well, hashtag LockerRoom981. We are at Smooth981FM. We're going to go straight into the rundown for you, and James Harden's performance reveals the uncertain future for Philadelphia 76ers star duo, while the federal government has suspended basketball in Nigeria for 2 whole years. We'll be discussing that in depth. And Shapovalov shocks Nadal as Djokovic and Zverev advance, and Liverpool stay in title hunt with Villa win. We've got Levante relegated after being demolished. Oh my God, it was a real demolishing by Real. And Liverpool's Fabinho to miss FA Cup final with injury. Inter beat Juve after extra time to win the Italian Cup, and Milan on the brink of title triumph as relegation battle hots up.
All right, so let's get straight into it. Miami ended Philadelphia's postseason with a 99-90 win, sending the 76ers crashing out of the second round for the 4th time in 5 seasons, Tega.
Yes, a huge one for Philadelphia 76ers. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the saga. It was Ben Simmons not wanting to play again for 76ers after underperforming the previous season. After underperforming in this previous season, but he was now replaced with James Harden. Now, remember what I said about James Harden? I think it's James Harden's work not being done in the gym, as opposed to any other thing wrong with James Harden. Because yes, James Harden has had his athleticism is a big part of his game, and yes, he's had 2 knee injuries, yes, and that could take off some of your pace. But you could see with the way he's a little bigger, he's not going to be moving that size swiftly down the court. Especially as it's not something that has been there. It's not like Luka Doncic has always been a chubby, nice kid, so he knows how to work with that. James Harden hasn't always been that.
Right.
So it's a completely different. Is readjusting his game to fit his new reality, and that has taken a little off his game.
You're right, Tega.
So you bring that guy in with a Jolumbi that had to be rushed back from the treatment table,
Right.
into a Philadelphia 76ers rotation, and there was always going to be a struggle. So they're playing on home court, and the crowd is charged up, ready to push them forward, and the crowd is doing their business. But the entire second half, James Harden scores 0 points. You can't clap to that. How do you cheer somebody into making buckets? Like, it doesn't make sense, because at many points in time, Joel Embiid was double guarded, sometimes even triple guarded. And then you're wondering, there are five guys on court. If three people are guarding one guy, that means the rest of you are open. At least make some buckets. When they give you the ball, just
think he'll improve.
they're out of the playoffs. Is over. They're out of
Well,
the season has
yeah, they're
ended.
out of for. But I mean, while they're trying to train
But
before the
hold
next
on, though.
season,
Look.
Look at
he'll
this.
come back.
Harden we were just talking about Harden on Wednesday.
Yeah,
And he wasn't doing badly.
He came in with
at
one.
all.
He came in with one game, and then he closed again for the rest of the series. So the thing about Philadelphia 76ers is when you're playing the Miami Heat, Miami Heat has guys that can play. It's not an individual thing. You need multiple guys to be making buckets. The same way Luka Doncic and the Mavericks have done right now to Phoenix Suns. We'll get into that story later. But the same way they've done to Phoenix Suns, that's exactly what you need. You need multiple guys on the floor bringing big game. It
That's
can't
right.
just be Joel Embiid with 20 points when he's been triple guarded. No, it has to be the rest of you putting in the work, because you're playing against a Miami Heat that Jimmy Butler on his own. Like, Jimmy Butler was scoring so much buckets when the Philadelphia 76ers fans started going. He was like, bye. He had time to pause and banter with them before he went back to his game, and nothing happened. There was no consequence on court, and those are the kind of things you have. So he's playing a brilliant game, but he also has the likes of Bam Adebayo and Hero, who are also making buckets. So Hero will be making shots from the perimeter before you can blink. Bam Adebayo he's attacking the rim. So they have guys that are doing. You can't have only one guy against that physical team. So they were
Okay.
beaten and they're out of the series, which is sad. But back to the Mavericks guys I was talking about, where multiple guys were doing the work. Even when Luka Doncic was being double, even when he was, no, even when he had his downtime in the third quarter, his team just took up the slack. They're like, okay, our big guy is tired, let's help. So offensively, yes, Phoenix Suns struggled. Chris Paul says he's a playmaker. He's not. He doesn't just score. We hear that, but you're going to have to need some points on the board to make it happen. Especially as they were aggressively defending against Devin Booker. Devin Booker had to beat several people to try to make his shot. So if they were defending that aggressively, they need points from somebody else. And that's where Ayrton Senna and Chris Paul comes in. And too many times this season they have dropped the ball. On the Dallas Mavericks points, when Luka Doncic drops the ball, they're like, you guys are guarding Doncic. Okay, Kleber will just be standing from the 3-point line and just dropping it. Just dropping 3 points from the 3-point line, back to back 3 points. Nobody's stopping him. He's not Steph Curry. He's not Klay Thompson. He's Kleber. About 6'11", maybe 7 feet tall. Shouldn't be doing that normally, but he is. So you need to do more. So Philadelphia 76ers didn't do more. Everybody's blaming Doc Rivers. Some other people are saying Harden must go. But I think it's the entire franchise that just needs to rework themselves. So they're out of the playoffs. But the Phoenix Suns have home court advantage to redeem themselves in Game 7.
All right.
Otherwise, the Mavericks are taking it.
Brilliant one there, Tega. Thanks.
All right, and can we talk to... Okay, yeah, and President Buhari has approved the immediate withdrawal of Nigeria from all international basketball competitions for a period of 2 years with immediate effect. I'm going to quote right now. Following the unending crisis which have plagued and nearly crippled the development of basketball in Nigeria, President Buhari has approved the withdrawal of Nigeria from all international basketball competitions for a period of 2 years.
Okay, so let's start this crisis from the beginning. Remember where there were 2 elections, one held in Abuja, one held in Benin?
Who can forget?
Exactly. So those 2 elections that were held, the one held in Benin, which is the one the Musa Kida faction came out from, that one had an NOC representative there to monitor, the election, and a FIBA representative to monitor the election.
The one in Benin.
The one in Benin. So the one in Abuja had none of that, but it was done like the statistics say it must be done in the stadium in Abuja. So it was done in the right place, but it had no independent monitors. Benin's own was done outside Benin, outside Abuja,
Stadium, yes.
but it had all the monitors, and so it was the one that was endorsed. But FIBA now comes in and is writing through the one that they saw. that they monitored and they endorsed. And the sports ministry is saying we can't be having two presidents. They now write to FIFA and say, FIBA, can we call both parties, let them have an election? FIBA was like, you know what, according to our Article 39, we do not allow a third party or independent body to be involved in this thing. These things have to be done by the MBBF themselves. Well, but the MBBF have been fighting for 8 years. We're trying to resolve it. And so the sports ministry now, make a report to the president, and the president suspends for 2 years. Now, here's what happens when
Both factions.
suspend basketball. Like if you're playing basketball in your backyard and there's a tournament, you cannot go.
They're like, if you can't handle this baby matter,
You
we'll
can't
take
go.
the baby
No, but
away
And the
I mean,
beginning
for
of
8
this,
years,
the
Tegra.
beginning of this problem was the money that Kwesi put. Small money that Kwesi put. Oh. That's how they lost their minds. That's when this problem started. Basketball finally made money. They lost their minds. If they've been collecting money that football has been collecting, that means they'll have 10 factions. That's what they're telling me now. So this problem now means that with this 2 years ban, should they carry on with this 2 year ban, when they come back, FIBA will ban them for the third party interference for another 2 years. That's 4 years, Abby. Then they will now, when FIBA comes back from that 2 year ban, it's still the Musa Kida faction that FIBA will now be communicating with. But FIBA is not innocent in all of this, because when this trouble starts, FIBA has a role as an overseeing body to say, all these factions come together. We're having the election on the 13th of September. Everybody campaign by 13th, we make a vote and we have a team. They have the politics and the overseeing power to say, resolve this. Like if this happened in FIFA, the president banned Nigeria for 2 years, FIFA would have written a letter by this morning saying there's a third party interference. If you don't suspend, you'll be banned completely. Another 2 years to your ban. They will arrange themselves. But FIBA haven't shown that over the years that they have the spine or the willingness to do it. And that's where the problem was. FIBA was enabling this fight. Because you can't passively stand on the fence and say we are going to only talk to one team. There's a problem clearly in the country, and it has affected them with Nigeria not having a local league for a while. So now they say they're suspending all international football matches. The Tigresses have qualified for the World Cup that is coming in October. They will not go.
No.
They will not go.
Well, I think that
And they're the ones that paid their money
the
to go for
Minister
all
of
this
Youth and
training.
Sports, Tega, should talk to the president at least before
It
September, so
was
it doesn't affect
the
Tigers.
minister that spoke to the president that this ban came.
Wasn't that
He-
funny
he-
about it?
You don't understand what's
Same one that
happening.
we're talking
I
about.
understand what you're saying,
The
Tega,
president did
but
not just
I
wake
mean,
up one morning and say, have they played basketball for 8 years? Oh, yeah, suspend. No, the president doesn't know these things. Somebody
what was
presented
the
to him.
role of the Minister of Sport in all of this?
The Minister of Sports also was trying to settle a fight that wasn't settled. Two ministers up for this story.
I really went past that story, but okay.
But yeah, that's the problem with it. The Tigresses are not going to the World Cup.
Maybe we should just take some messages because we're almost due for a break. All right. So we have messages coming in on WhatsApp, quite a number of them. We begin with this one here from Alex. Alex sends in a message. He says, "Good morning, House. We were raped by the referee last night, but penalty was not supposed to be. Anyway, we're still qualifying for top four as Arsenal for life." That's what he sent in. Cruz also sends a message.
Wait, I don't understand. Why should the sports pay for the sins of the administrators? Why not kick the administrators out or punish them? Why make the players and talent suffer?
The players and talents have been suffering since.
Ronson comes in, says, "When two elephants fight, it's the elephants who suffer." Really?
No, it's
I
the
think
ground
it's the grass.
Well, he's saying in Nigeria with these basketball
No, I
players.
think he
When
meant to say
two
the grass.
elephants fight, the elephants suffer. It's the domestic players that will be that will
the
be hit
grass.
the
It's the
most by
grass.
the brouhaha. Those men handling basketball in Nigeria too insensitive.
So I don't know. It's such a horrible place of egos clashing. What
Jeez,
stops people
man.
from saying, okay, especially as the election, they all knew the election was supposed to happen on a particular day. Why don't everybody gather in Benin and vote?
Wow, Gabriel is like, how on earth on YouTube Gabriel says, "How on earth do you explain this decision? Federal government suspends basketball for 2 years. It's the most irresponsible decision." And he goes on, but I can't read that last part of your message, Gabriel.
So yeah, morning radio.
Chimobi Victor from Alaba International. It's over for Arsenal as we speak. He who fights and run away lives to fight another day. Tottenham deserves the maximum points from last night because Arsenal played like a team who's not interested in playing European football. And he continues, Mikel Arteta should just settle for Europa League football next season at least. They'll be playing European football next season until Manchester United, who started like a house on fire and ended fossil out when jungle matured. God bless Nigeria and long live Smith. All right, thank you very much. We'll do for a break. We'll come back. We'll bring you more stories.
I really wanted to hit you. Your back looked sweet for slapping. Like that kind of back when you do like this, when you slap it.
Just know that my back is connected to my arm, so if you get slapped,
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to turn the other back.
it's turned.
So that's your front.
I can't be. As the back turns, the limbs turn too.
Just give it sweet one.
You're rubbing it. Let me rub me in the back of my hand as well.
This place felt cold when I first came in. Was
So that
sleeping?
was the refreshed one. So it's
So
just
is
the
the
headline.
headline, yeah.
So
Just read the story. Sorry, then I thought I refreshed it.
because I had brought it up when did that happen? Because that's I had brought it up just before the show, so that I will not be doing any temporary local
It's like
room.
Liverpool. Liverpool. How did Liverpool make it there?
You know me, I'm like, do you remember Anchorman, right? Like they'll give him anything
Yeah.
to read, and he'll
You
just
just like
yeah. I was like, I go to a higher plane and I just read. So you're now like, I was like, I'm still in the higher plane. Uh,
Nice. So we'll just do Rafa Nadal. Please make sure I'm 2 minutes because this people like to gist plenty gist.
I'm telling
said
you.
the minister should have stepped in. Is the minister that told Buhari now? That told Buhari
so
what to do.
meanwhile, I'm over here like,
Meanwhile, I'm hearing that what happened was, and this is where minister I think he has a fault in it. Somebody is upset that he won an election in Abuja. It doesn't matter. His election is not recognized. He had no independent monitors. He had nobody to endorse it. So what are you trying to settle?
straight fell in the wood that
Do
nobody
you understand?
was
If I come in and
We're
say
back.
that Chopin's car is my car, and you now say Chopin, let's discuss it. Why? Is it my car?
And we're back inside the locker room, straight down to some stories for you.
Yes, let's do that. And we're going into tennis, where Rafael Nadal was knocked out of the Italian Open after the 21 times major winner was beaten 1-6, 7-5, 6-2 by Canadian Denis Shapovalov in the last 16 of the Italian Open on Thursday.
Yes, and just before that match started, in fact, when Stan Wawrinka was playing Novak Djokovic in the earlier match, again, Stan Wawrinka lost to Novak Djokovic 6-2, 6-2. But when they're playing that earlier match, I remember the commentator saying, Novak Djokovic could win his 1,000th match against Rafa Nadal, and I was just like, but Rafa is playing Shapovalov. And Shapovalov has beaten him before. Don't just write that youngster off because as much as Rafa Nadal is tenacious and all of that, he's a walking wounded man. So yesterday they're asking him. So he played the match. He lost in the third set, but you could see his foot injury was
So,
aggravated.
Teka, the problem with walking wounded is that we have seen, and he has shown us many times that he can win wounded.
Yeah, but he has
He's
to be
winning
no,
wounded.
But he's also shown many times that he even with his injury he'd play, but he will not always win. It's not like Novak Djokovic. Look at Novak Djokovic will have a cracked rib and play 3 sets and win. And they come and say, "Oh, this can't show the fractured rib." You're just like, "What's wrong with you?" But with Rafa Nadal, is like he put yesterday when they asked him about the foot. He said, "I'm not an injured athlete. I'm an athlete living with an injury." Because remember, there was what I told you that his tendonitis is for life, and the reason why they were doing the surgery was not just for his tennis, was so that when he's about 40 or 50, he'll still be able to walk. So he's not a walking wounded. He's patched as it is, and so the foot injury was aggravated in the third set, and you could see it. He was grimacing with every movement, and I was just like, "Oh God, stop! Nobody will kill you if you stop. They will pay you your complete money if you stop. Just stop and go." This guy played to the end.
That's the
You know,
tenacity
I,
that we're all talking about.
and sometimes it's a little, especially with your history, with his history, he shouldn't have continued, but he did. He lost to Shapovalov, and so Shapovalov is through to the next round. He plays Casper Ruud, and should he win that, then he could meet Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, on the other hand, plays another young Canadian, Felix Auger-Aliassime, and I don't know. I think he will beat that one easily, because Felix, while he's talented, he's not as his game is not as measured, and because of the way Novak is calculated, it's a little, he looks like easy fodder. Novak will use him to train. That's what I think. But on the next in the rest of the tour, Sasha Zverev is again through to the next round, and Tsitsipas. So those young guys just keep staying consistent. The question is, can they finally start consistently winning? Because they are doing like this now. The next gen after the next gen are the ones that are winning.
All right, I talked about this earlier, but let's talk about it again. Arsenal match where the coach Mikel Arteta said a beautiful game was destroyed as his side suffered a damaging blow in their top four hopes with a North London derby defeat at Tottenham, and the Spurs won 3-0 to move within a point of their rivals with 2 games remaining.
All right, so let me. This is where I would say there was no bias. However, so Paul Tierney was the referee in charge of the match, and you're in charge of a local derby match, and they're playing football, not tennis, not men's single tennis. There are certain things that happen during football matches that, especially if it's a derby, you don't immediately punish. The first thing I'd say, that penalty that was given was the softest penalty I've seen in my life. It happens every day of the week and doesn't get punished. So if you're looking at that thing, because the push was so slight and Son has been falling like that, he's been shot all through the match. You could tell they were trying to get a player sent off. You could have used your wisdom and say, "Oh, this is a derby match. This is what is correct to the letter of the law, but it was not just for football." I don't know if that makes sense. Like all the decisions he made, from the penalty to the red card, they were all correct according to the letter of the law. But for the justness in football matches, they were harsh. Which is why they don't let robots make just decision. They leave your human factor to do it. So for a derby match, especially that derby match, that second yellow card to Holding is the kind of thing that, because you had just given him a yellow card, you look at him again and say, "This is your last warning. Give a foul and let them play." But he just, you know what? I'm sick and tired of you, Rob Holding. I've told you before. And then he brought out the red card, and I'm just like, calm down. Meanwhile, I had seen in the first tangle that Son got in with Holding, Son actually used his elbow to hit Holding on the jaw. No penalties, no consequence.
See the bias.
Do you understand? So it's not bias. It's just it's a lack. It's a naivety. So I don't know that he wanted Tottenham to win, but there was a naivety in his decision making, and so that's where I have a problem with. And for such a big match that was a decider, it now means that Arsenal have to defeat. Listen, next up, resurgent Newcastle in Newcastle, and then try to beat an Everton side that is avoiding drowning. So those are very tough fixtures to round up with. On the other hand, Tottenham have to defeat Burnley. That one could be a tough match, but also Norwich City, who have already been relegated. So they have no skin in the game. So Tottenham's fixture looks a little easier on paper than the Arsenal many fixtures. So it's looking more like Tottenham may make the top four. However, let me not make that decision. Let's open the phone lines here. At the end of the day, your thoughts on last night's match in the North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham, or Tottenham versus Arsenal, because Tottenham were at home. What do you think about that particular match? And let us know what you think about top four.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. Can you speak up a bit? Izzy.
Izzy from Ojo. Okay,
All right.
Go ahead.
Izzy, go ahead.
Yeah, we always complain about the referee consistency.
Turn up
But
the
that
volume
was
so
the
YouTube
match
can
as
hear.
well. Ray Gordon was on full speed and Madrid got him on the floor. And that was what first came out when I think everyone wants Liverpool to win the league, the. So this match, Son was not on speed. It was just motionless and it's not as if holding ball that he just shoved me a little bit and he went to them. You could see the willingness and the happiness that Cotier recorded in the sport because he knew that there was no way to have to go back and say. But he was going to always say, oh, he's not a clear himself. He knew. So sometimes let's always. I don't know why we often believe that this way people don't have prepared stuff like that. I think Cotier knows he knows what he was doing and he did that stuff. He knows there was no way he could go back and he did everything. That was what, and I keep hearing the English guy always say, oh, and
Yeah, as we understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that he was correct. I'm just saying there was a bias. There was no bias. That's my point. I don't like to say Paul Tierney was supporting Tottenham Hotspur, but I can say that there was a
You know, even
naivety.
the manager said if he said what
Yo,
he
guys,
had
hold on.
in
I'm gonna
mind
put this a
about
pause in this. 0144899181. That's the number to call. Back to you, Pepper.
so Ateta was saying if he said what he had in mind, they might suspend him for 6 months.
Because if I've said already for him. Go ahead.
Hello, good morning. Hello, what's your name and your location?
my name is Gappo. Calling from Europe.
Dapo, go ahead.
Okay, my view. We had a bad man yesterday. I'm an Arsenal supporter. I agree with what Tega said.
I feel his
I
pain.
don't want to blame the referee. I'm not a great fan of Bob Holding. So I wasn't too surprised. I was surprised it happened, but I wasn't expecting that to happen. I would have preferred 11 men on the pitch, and if Tottenham were going to beat us, then they beat us. But top four is going to be hard because we've got much difficult games and Tottenham do. But let's wait and see what happens. Yeah.
All right, Dapo. Thank you very much. I like what he said. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that the referee wasn't wrong. If you look at the letter of the law, he could justify every single decision. But coming down to the football, especially in a derby, those were harsh decisions to take.
Big E from Ketu sent a message. He says Ateta just handed us onto Banter FC yesterday. The odds were not in our favor. Ateta lineup for that match was not set up well. He didn't start with Smith Rowe and Ben White. There's all-round flow from that ref too, as he was a Tottenham fan. This top four, we must win it all dine and die.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ben White is, they just rushed him from the treatment room, which is why Ateta was hesitant to put him on the pitch. So it's not like Ateta was trying to hold him back. It's just like, don't get injured now. We still have to beat Newcastle and then Newcastle away and then Everton. So he kept him for tough fixtures.
All right. Chimel B. Victor sends a message. He says, if there's any team that should be suspended, it has to be the Super Eagles team and not the Tigers, who have labored to qualify for this tournament.
What's
this
wrong
is
with
totally
you?
ridiculous and unacceptable.
What's wrong with you? Why would...
I'm not happy with the president's decision.
Why would they? They're not suspending based on performance, Oga.
Emeka from Amowo says Arsenal score and go to the Champions League, but no, they decided to be unfortunate and let Hurricane to cane us. Now the last two games against Newcastle and Everton it has to be a must win, and let me not get started on the referee. You see?
Like I said, it was harsh decisions. So my point is, according to the letter of the law, he's correct. Like if you push in the 18-yard box, it's a penalty.
But we have thank you on Twitter. It's Tega Supreme, and
hope you win over the weekend.
Yes, Newcastle walk over.
It's people that is making us now to lose like this. It's your pride.
The last three games.
Goodbye and God bless.
The referee was the reason. It was the referee.
This time is Pepper.
This Newcastle this weekend. We'll talk about it on Monday, Jerry.
I won't die. Your mouth is too big. Say bye-bye, John.
They lose.